What is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon. So we have now entered December, which means one thing and one thing only, the most important thing that everyone wants when they think of in December, and that is, of course, it is 1 month till the release of Rugby 22. Maybe, sort of. We're not really sure anymore. Rugby 22 has been one of those very strange games where it's really sort of flown under the radar a little bit. Now, Rugby 22 was officially announced back in May on the 29th. I've got written down here, could terribly be wrong. I actually did a video talking about that on my channel where I was going over that I was so happy that this game was going to be released. Now, this is from the same makers as Rugby 20. Now, Rugby 20 is by no means a perfect game. There is still, to this day, quite a few glitches, quite a few exploits. The graphics, not necessarily the best, but overall as a game, it's a game I've really enjoyed. I've really got down with Rugby 20. I've used it on the channel an awful lot, and a lot of different videos and stuff, and I thought Rugby 20 was actually very well managed in terms of a development through to final release to the customers. Now, Rugby 22 hasn't really followed that sort of same trajectory, and I really just wanted to see a couple of changes made to Rugby 20, moving to Rugby 22, and I think that game could have been really, really good had they followed the same path. I even did a video talking about what mechanics I wanted to see in the new game, and I even got some people dropping down in the comments some of their ideas they wanted to see. There were some fantastic ideas, and I thought doing these sorts of videos would be really helpful for the guys over at Nacon and Eco Software and everyone else involved, just to help them know what the market wanted and help them engage a little bit with the customers. But to date, we've not really had a lot of information going on. So back in July 6th, we had the reveal trailer that finally dropped. It came out during a Nacon event. I did a video on the channel. It's one of the more sort of well-known videos on this channel, to be fair. A lot of people getting interested, a lot of talk about that game. It was slightly underwhelming. I think a lot of people agreed it was pretty underwhelming for the majority of the video. It was like a 40-second video. Everyone's expected to see a lot of new gameplay, a lot of new interesting features, and we didn't really get that. It still remains up there now. If you go on Google, you'll find my face somewhere on there related around Rugby 22, but they certainly haven't followed the same routine as they did for Rugby 20. Now, when we go back and we look at the Rugby 20 release schedule, what actually happened there was when you pre-ordered the game, you actually got to be involved with the beta phase of the game. Now, I really enjoyed the Rugby 20 beta. There was a lot of issues and a lot of things that could be fixed, but they went through it. And I went back through and I found this image on Rugby 20. You can see, of course, here now, this is where the Glows beta was. Phase 1 ran from September through to October. Phase 2 from October to November, and Phase 3 was until the end of the year. I got it down to be somewhere between December 19th and January 3rd. I got written down here as what we actually look back at. Now, I really enjoyed the Rugby 20 beta. I played through it all. I pre-ordered the game. I got through it all. There were definitely a couple of issues, definitely things that need fixed. There was one point in Phase 2 where I remember in terms of the rucks, you could literally win every ruck, 100%, absolutely easy. They had to go on, had fixed that. They had a lot of the bug releases and stuff, and I think that's really useful for a game like this. Rugby's quite a niche market, especially rugby games. They need to be getting involved with customers and letting them know what's going on. Now, that beta phase, although the game wasn't perfect, allowed us to get involved, allowed us to tell them what needed to be developed, and so on. Rugby 22 hasn't followed that. When we had that release trailer back earlier this year, I sort of expected by now at least to have heard about a beta phase, a pre-order thing, maybe some early access to games and stuff. I did actually reach out to them to see if I could maybe get some game testing and stuff in. There wasn't really any feedback, and there are still to this day now. It's currently December 3rd at the time of filming this, and I haven't actually seen anything from this game. So what I thought I'd do is I'd go on a little bit of an investigation. So the official release of Rugby 20 was on the 23rd of January. Now, I expected Rugby 22 to follow a similar vein to that, probably have it come out at the same time. We did see in that release trailer that the release date for this game as well is also going to be in January. I assume they do a similar thing and do that 3-phase beta. We haven't done it. So I went on, I've had a quick look at their Twitter and their Facebook pages and stuff, and I basically went through just to see if they've released any news, maybe something I'd missed, maybe something I hadn't picked up along the way. And to be honest, there really isn't a lot. They've really gone through and repurposed. We knew this from the initial thing. They didn't bother remaking a whole thing for Rugby 22. They basically took everything from Rugby 20 and repurposed it for Rugby 22. Perfectly fine. Marketing, cut down on costs, nothing wrong with that. Don't really mind a lot of that. But one thing that I did notice going through it is there is an inconsiderable lack of updates. As we can see here on their Twitter page, the last thing we really got to see was the reveal trailer, which we all knew was already there, and I did a video on that and everything. So there was no real update to that. I did have a look to see if anyone had reached out to them in terms of comments and stuff, stuff, there really wasn't a lot going on. I found this one guy who reached out to them and they've just basically said there are updates coming at some point, but that was sort of like a month ago now. There's not really a lot going on. I also went on and had a look at some of the links they had on their channel. As we can see here, as you click on this link that's attached to their game, it's right at the top next to Rugby 22. When you click on rugbyatthegame.com, it takes you through to purchasing Rugby 20. So they've not even updated their own website for being able to purchase Rugby 22, which is a little bit worrying for someone who was sort of really hoping this game would be a much better version of Rugby 20, a lot of the fixes made that we wanted to see, and being able to create a better game. So what I did is I took to Twitter. Oh yeah, by the way, I have a Twitter. I also have like an Instagram and a Facebook and everything. I'll drop it here for you guys. You can go join if you really want to. I don't do a lot on social media, but there we go. Panda some links. Go follow. Do all the social media things. So I took to Twitter back in November of 17, as you guys will see on screen now, and I basically just threw it at them. I said, at Rugby the Game, is there any news about Rugby 22? Question mark. Is there? Is there anything for us to know at all? Less than 2 months until release, no beta, no updates since July when the reveal trailer came out. Question mark. Looking forward to seeing what the end product is like. And I thought maybe by reaching out to them, maybe they would come back with something, maybe they'd give me some sort of update. Really, sort of any update would be quite useful, whether they're just going to say, oh, we're not doing the beta thing, we're going to do a pre-order thing, even just to know we're actually looking at it now. There's a few issues we found along the way. We're looking like we probably won't be releasing it for January. All of these updates would be perfectly nice to actually hear back from. I sent that now. It's been about two and a bit weeks now, and there's been no response from them at all, so I've got no update from that standpoint. So we've gone through the links, we've had a look at the images, we've looked at any info they've put out, and I've reached out to them directly, and it looks like we've really not got a lot coming back to us, which isn't great. So what a bigger question for this is, what does this mean for the game of Rugby 22? So like I said earlier on, this game now, when we go back to Rugby 20 a couple of years back, this was already deep into the production phase and we were getting to play beta tests and stuff for this game, and I was really enjoying that. Having not really seen anything from this game, if you actually go back and watch my initial reaction to the reveal trailer for this game, I did say the graphics in that reveal trailer didn't look overly better. The stadiums didn't look any different. The kits didn't really look any different to Rugby 20. They've now moved on and not really released any new information. We haven't got to play the game, see any more of the game, see any images, videos, gameplay. We can reach out to them and they won't respond about the game, and I'm beginning to get to the situation now where should we feel a little bit worried about this game, because when you don't hear stuff, we're now about a month away from release. This is normally where you want to be hearing information about the game and seeing images and stuff, give you that little bit of spice. If you work in a marketing team, surely the best thing to do is now start drumming up support, get people really involved in this, and unfortunately it just doesn't seem to be there. And I'm beginning to think now, is this going to be one of those games that gets swept under the rug? Because there are rugby games that have come out in the past with little to no marketing. One of my favourites personally, Rugby World Cup 2011. Now this game came out of nowhere for me. I just walked into Tesco's one day and saw it on the shelves, and it still to this day is one of the best rugby games I've ever played. Surely there's issues, and the graphics, if you play it now, look a little bit outdated. That's because it's a decade old. When you look now in the year 2022 when this game comes out, we're expecting better graphics, we're expecting better gameplay, and you'd really be hoping that they would nail this game down. And I'm beginning to get a little bit concerned that those games that don't have that build-up, don't have that interaction with customers, don't sort of show gameplay or videos or anything in the game, to me doesn't come across as we're holding it back as a really positive secret. It tells me we're a bit worried about this game, or we're not that proud about it, and maybe this game is gonna release in the January of next year, sort of on a marketplace level, and just sort of push it away and pretend they weren't massively involved. We've already heard talk about new Rugby World Cup games and new Rugby League games and Sevens games and stuff. People are slowly building bigger and bigger games, but Rugby 22's gone awfully quiet. Of course, I will be picking up this game when it eventually does come out, so you guys, if you got a bit strapped for cash, you don't want to just lunge in and buy the game, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way you can keep up to date when those videos come out, and you guys can get some impressions from me when that game does eventually come out. But I'm really interested to know what you guys think. Is this something you guys are worried about? Are you looking forward to Rugby 22? Are you disappointed with the interactions we've got from the developers themselves? Because personally for me, I would like to see a lot more. I think as a community, rugby gaming is quite niche. I don't think it's that hard to keep in contact with us, and I would really like to be seeing a little bit more more, but I am interested to know what you guys think, so make sure you do drop it down in the comments. But I hope you've enjoyed this sort of little update video, guys, just doing a recap 1 month out from the release of Rugby 20. If you did, make sure to drop this video a like, and like I said, we will be covering this game in the future, so make sure you subscribe just to keep up to date with when those videos come out. I hope you've all enjoyed today, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.